Eminem, Morbius. Okay, we'll start here.
They about to taste my Morbius. I got that acrimonious odious. Take a bath so copious. My blood flows harmonious. Not too acrimonious. You know they hating us, and you're getting treason us. Ooh, when they get bit with the Morbius.
Alright, we're gonna go shoot up Blackwater. And if I dare ask, are you caught up on Kenobi?
I have not seen episode 4 yet.
Okay. It's not gonna change your opinions about anything.
I've heard some spoilers because I watched Jeremy Johns' video about it, and let me see. Let me read to you the text I sent to Gregor.
Okay.
If Obi-Wan gets burned and spends the next episode reflecting and having flashbacks in a back-to-tank of young Anakin during the Clone Wars, that's character growth. If Obi-Wan gets burned and spends the next episode going about his business and freeing Leia as if nothing happened, that's just humiliation.
Yep.
They're like, look, we dragged Obi-Wan through the fire, and if you disagree with me, call me crazy, but I feel like I'm the only person who did not like that.
I don't have any like problem with like that act like per se. I do find it a little like if them meeting before episode 4 period like undermines episode 4, then them meeting twice is worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, according I mean, actually, do you care if I like there have been leaks, and like, do you care if I
I don't want to know really.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll gladly talk after the show is over, but like,
well, I was gonna say
yeah.
like, because you've already said it, but according to the leaks, yeah, there was supposed to be 2 duels, and everyone was like, that's not going to happen. And I was like, yeah, it's Disney, so yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Which is like, here's the thing. I think in a, like, normal show, you want, like, a low point and then, like, a climax. And that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah,
and
but
I think,
George Lucas made a low point between episodes 3 and 4.
well, I'm more saying, like, if this was like an original character, then like, yeah, absolutely. But the fact that it's Obi-Wan and like these characters have history and all this, it lets you shortcut some of the character development, but like, it also makes other things like worse.
Yeah.
Like them meeting and having that confrontation would work if he wasn't Obi-Wan, but since he is, I don't know that it plays as well.
Oh, Jesus, I forgot what I was gonna say. But, like, someone pointed out, like, freaking, like, Vader force pushes and, like, the fire goes out, but when that lady shoots the fire and it goes up again so they can escape, it's like, why doesn't Vader just force push the fire out again?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And, like, if you expect me to believe that, like, Darth Vader's suit is not some element of, like, flame retardant, like...
Oh, yeah, no, like, people
what
are like,
you
oh,
saying to me?
Like, he'll catch on fire, like, oh, he's afraid of the fire, and I'm like... bullcrap. He can survive in the vacuum of space in that suit. Like,
what I would have done is if I was like an executive at like, I would have just made the fire like, there's like ashes on the ground and there's like a cool flame and he's like dragging him through the flame and it's like, oh no, and then it's like she shoots the container and it's like a different kind of flame, like they turn green or something. Just something that's like, oh, these flames are flamier. And it's like, okay. But
okay,
they didn't do that because you want that image of Darth Vader standing against flame. Because it's cool, not because it makes sense, right?
like, okay, how about she shoots like an explosive and like the shockwave of the explosion just ragdolls Vader across the quarter.
You like crack open the helmet and Obi-Wan gets to see just a glimpse of what Vader is underneath the helmet, right?
By the way, I saw someone making a video, and like he was like, "I'm so excited for this series," and then like he posted a video like yesterday, and he's like, "Guys, I'm getting kind of worried because like Hayden Christensen's not really been in this," and I was like, "Dude, I tried to warn you, my guy." Like,
yeah.
Disney had Hayden throughout all the promotional material, but if you actually read like what's been going on behind the scenes, he's not even the guy in the suit.
Is he not? Oh man.
No, he's not.
Aww.
So he's not even doing that. The only thing he's done has been when like Obi-Wan saw that vision of Anakin on a hillside. That's
I had
it.
to see that online. I didn't know what that was. I couldn't tell. So like someone
I
said,
knew
"Oh,
it-
that's Hayden," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Like I knew immediately what that was because I'm just like a freaking like prequel synth. I'll admit it. Like, and I was just like, because like Anakin has that very specific shade of like dark, like deep plum robe, and I was like, I knew immediately it was him. Which I sound like such a freaking like nerd when I say that. I was like, you mean you recognize him because of the color of his robe? Yes.
That's funny. Okay, so as far as this show is concerned, I actually don't hate like the large S story of it. Like the story makes sense to me. The scene by scene writing is bad. Like the stuff that's like, okay, we need to figure out how to get character A to like confront character B. Let's write a scene that explains how that happens. None of that makes sense. That's all bad. But like Leia getting kidnapped and like they're using her to flush Obi-Wan out of hiding. That kind of makes sense to me, and that doesn't really bother me. Like, I think it's fair if it bothers other people, but like, I don't mind it.
Hold on, I'm trying to kill this guy. Okay, anyway. So I think, see, my opinion has kind of been like, oh, look, we have an Imperial senator whose daughter's been kidnapped. Instead of, like, suspiciously trying to hide it and pretend like nothing's wrong, let's just blow the horn, like, and have the entire Imperial, like, the strong arm of the Empire trying to hunt down this freaking child, you know?
No, that's fair. That's a bit odd.
Because
as far as
wait,
he
your daughter
knows,
was kidnapped?
Yeah, as far as he knows, it's
Yeah.
not the Empire, right?
Yeah. And you didn't go to the authorities. Yeah. Why not? That's
Yeah.
more suspicious than like freaking. Because like no one. All right, let's be real. Like the problem is the show was like the older cousin that she psychoanalyzes is like, we all know you're not supposed to be here, and it's like, how? They in all other Star Wars media, no one knows that like she's not an actual Organa except for Bail's wife, and Obi-Wan. And by the end of Episode 4, all three of them are dead.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
like,
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. I assumed like he was just a cousin who had seen her at like family events and whatnot, and she had never been pregnant, and he just sort of put two and two together. But like that's a fair enough criticism, I guess. Well, I don't know. I'm not really like. There's stuff that I prefer in like the expanded lore or whatever, but like the minutia of it doesn't really bother me at this point. Like
Also-
there's more bad Star Wars media than good. So
I can't
like,
believe I'm going to like defend the writing. So the problem is like it's not only inconsistent with other material, it's inconsistent with other stuff Disney has produced. They are
Okay.
contradicting their own material at this point. Because Reva walks in and is like, "Oh, they're here. We need to send out stuff to go find them." And then the other like Inquisitor kind of like bends her over the table with the Force, which sus. Like, why you feel like bending women over tables? Is this something you want to tell us? Like, golly. But and then she goes like, "I spoke to Vader," and he acts all shocked and he's like, "Oh, you spoke to Vader?" It's like, yeah, no kidding. She's the whole point of the Inquisitors is they report to Vader. So yeah, no kidding. She spoke to Vader. That's kind of her job. Like,
well,
that's all
sure.
your jobs.
But like, do they all report to Vader, or does the Grand Inquisitor report to Vader and everyone else
I
doesn't?
am fairly certain there have been like at least like at one point or another they have all had to speak to Vader at one point or another.
I mean,
you know?
sure.
Like, they're not gonna, call him up randomly, be like, "Hey, you want to go out and get some coffee sometime?" But like, if there's a situation developing and it's like, "Hey, like the Grand Inquisitor has been stabbed. Let me call the boss and let him know what's going on."
That's fair. I mean, that's absolutely fair. That's what I'm saying. Like the overarching plot, I think, kind. I don't know. Like this happens, and you're like, okay, sure. Like, This kind of sucks.
And then-
I don't. Okay, so I don't think that there's a lot of people who are like saying that Reva the character like really bothers them. I don't mind her. I'll put it out there. Like I don't think she's any better or worse than any of these other like Star Wars TV show villains.
Well,
but
see,
like
the problem is there are people who are like, oh, like she's the worst and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, compared to any other Inquisitor, like I hate even the concept of Inquisitors. So just compared to any of them, I'm like, she's no different than any of them.
Well, she's like no less offensive than the Fallen Order Inquisitors. And
Yeah,
like, if you don't like the Inquisitors as a concept, 100%, like I'm with you. It's kind of weird and stupid. I think
like,
they're weird and stupid, but like
I will go into
yeah.
this show accepting that they're a thing, but then people are like, "Oh, she's worse than the other ones," and I was like, "No, the Grand, like Inquisitor, your insolence has gone on long enough." And it's like Obi-Wan is literally behind like a wooden box, and he's too busy arguing. He's too busy trying to like scold her, and it's like, "Macho, he is right there."
It's like my guy, like let's get him. Let's just get him.
My guy, priorities, my guy, because like.
Okay, so what's really bothering me, like the scene-by-scene writing is kind of sloppy, and the action sucks, like just across the board.
Oh, the
like,
shaky cam, dude!
I didn't even notice that. What scene are you referring to?
Oh my gosh! All right, well, let's start right at the beginning. Order 66. The door opens. The clone troopers
Let's
walk
start
in.
at Dave Filoni's wet dream. Order 66.
Dave Filoni's wet dream, right? I don't know if the chips made them mentally brain dead on top of it, because, like, trained by Jango Fett, the Jedi is standing there, no gun or anything raised. You pull your trigger 3 times. Like, the first 2 shots don't even, like hit where her head was. So by the time your 3rd shot, which would have hit her and the head goes off, she has now moved her head. Like, on YouTube, the camera starts like shaky cam. If the cameraman is like running with the actors and they're like moving around and stuff, makes sense, right? However, it's a stationary camera, and then like it starts shaking. Like, you can look this up on YouTube for no reason. Just starts shaking. Also,
Man.
like, I think I gave up on my notes, like, after 2 pages. I was only 20 minutes into episode 1. I was just like, I give up. Because, like, but, like, I think I said in my notes, Order 66 goes down. The entirety of the 501st marches into the Jedi Temple. Thousands of stormtroopers, like, clone troopers. Guns going off, screams, lightsabers, and yet none of these people seem to notice when they're right next to the grand atrium of the Jedi Temple.
No,
which is where the
no.
front doors of the temple are.
Yeah, like
Pandemonium.
yeah, for sure. And like there was a lot of like real like spinny like Jedi stuff, which I was kind of like, I mean, I'm game for a little like spinny Jedi stuff. That was what was in the prequels. It made no sense then. It makes no sense now. But like, sure, why not? Like we're back in the prequels. That's okay. And that hasn't like continued through. Like the lightsabers, they just sort of like wave them around without like any real regard for what they're swinging at. Like, and this is Ewan as well. And that speaks to me that, like, it's just bad choreography on set. Like, Ewan McGregor, of all people, should know how to hold one of those things at this point. But he looks like an idiot when he's swinging it around.
Which I would like to point out that they had Hayden Christensen take photos of, like, sparring with Ewan. And they actually released footage of them taking those photos, and there's no actual movement. They're just posing. And yet the caption was like, oh, they're training sparring. And it's like, well, that's a lie. Like, they're literally just standing. Which, the reason I bring that up is because you're like, oh, the choreography. Yeah, Hayden's not even getting to do lightsaber fights either.
Oh my god.
This poor man.
What is he doing at this point?
He did the cliffside scene. And I think he did Vader in his bathtub.
Okay.
Which, I would like to point out to Disney that in Return of the Jedi, Vader doesn't have ears. So why is it every time we see Vader in his back-to-tank in, like, the freaking Disney stuff, he has his ears?
Okay, I don't know if that's entirely fair, because he definitely has ears in Return of the Jedi. Like,
I'm pretty sure he does not, my guy.
Oh, are you serious? Man, it's been a while since I've watched that. I never noticed that he didn't have ears.
I look at this stuff, like, has ears or not, okay?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, like the action blows chunks. Like it's so sloppy.
Oh,
and like
which, by the
it's
way,
not exciting.
I'm keeping to your, like, the point of the action is not exciting. Episode 2, like, what happened to Blasters? So uncivilized. Episode 2, he's like, pew pew, can barely hit. Between episodes 2 and 3, he wasn't talking to Qui-Gon, he was watching the John Wick trilogy. Because, my gosh!
No, that doesn't
he's
bother
like-
me. Like,
he's
he hasn't
actually
used his
doing
lightsaber in a
gung-
decade. Of course he's gonna have a gun.
He's
Like,
actually
whatever.
using gung fu on these guys. Like, straight up John Wick gung fu on these stormtroopers.
It is a little gun fu, isn't it? Like, him having a gun doesn't bother me, but like, there was a little bit of that, oh, I'm gonna do a leg kick and like tussle and shoot people at point blank.
My whole life's purpose is now to protect Luke. In doing so, I will neither touch the Force or my lightsaber for a decade. But Keanu Reeves called and I had to keep myself busy.
We went gun training.
We went gun training. Oh, yes.
Okay.
I
now,
must say he was onto something.
As far as like Leia is concerned, this show does do like highlight something for me that I had never really considered before. So Obi-Wan is like, I'm gonna watch over Luke and I'm gonna train him to be a Jedi, and they're like, okay, we'll take Leia and like we'll just raise her as our daughter. It never really seems to occur to Obi-Wan that Leia could be A, Force sensitive, and B, probably a better Jedi than Luke.
See,
And that's even like in this show. He's
the
like,
problem is...
I have to protect Luke. I have to protect Luke, and I can't leave because of Luke. And it's like, Leia is literally also probably Force sensitive. And if she's anything like her mother, she's probably better handled to use the Force.
The problem is, like, in the original trilogy, Luke and Leia weren't meant to be siblings.
Well, exactly. And that's like
In
a
the
writing
original draft.
problem that like expands further past this.
Yeah.
But if they had been like, okay, you need to come rescue Leia, and he's like, no, and they're like, literally, she will lead, like, her
She is
existence will
one half
lead
of the
Vader.
equation.
Yeah, she will lead Vader to you. You need to deal with this. That's a better pitch than, oh, she's my daughter and I need my friend. Like,
Yeah.
she is also possibly a Jedi and could fuck up this entire
Oh
thing.
my gosh. Oh, the freaking alien in the pickup truck.
Oh, I thought he was funny.
The freaking, like, Trump supporter alien in the pickup truck.
What?
Which, but the only reason I say that is I screenshotted it. Someone made a tweet when they were like, oh look, it was like someone being like, this is the scariest and most real Star Wars has ever been in a long time. Look at this, like, he supports order and has a flag on the back of his truck. And I was like, I don't.
I mean, I don't know if
My
I'd go
complaint
so...
isn't that. My complaint isn't that. My complaint was like, I thought the Empire was like, you know, like humanist and like human supremacy, and we don't like aliens. And then like all the stormtroopers are like, oh hey Gary, and like they take rides from this guy, and like
Yeah.
freaking
I
first
mean,
name bases with him.
all of that like humanist like stuff is like, well, you know what, I'd say that it was like part of the extended lore and you kind of have to get rid of it, but there's definitely not a single like alien imperial officer, is there? Like, that doesn't exist.
Yep.
So I mean, well, fair enough. Like, I think it's also like, you can read it as like, if you're doing like Trump cop metaphors, it's like they have no problem with aliens as long as they stay in their place, which is like, okay, sure, whatever.
I mean, sure, yeah.
I don't know. I
Otherwise-
thought he was kind of funny looking, and I liked his voice.
Oh yeah, it was like oh my gosh, just I can't talk about like one thing because there's just so much wrong. Where it's like Obi-Wan being the adult is like, all right, we need a plan, right? You're my daughter. We're farmers. We're lost. You don't say a word. Leia immediately starts like speaking in tongues or something like.
Well, she's also way better at it than he is, and I kind of like that. Like, I saw like an interesting idea. Like,
I would buy that if she was interested in going into politics, because she does become a set and like, but she's like, I hate politics. It's like, why? You
because
literally
she's
have like
10. Like, come on.
yeah, and I would buy it. Like,
No, I'm
would
saying like her hating politics is completely reasonable for her being a 10-year-old.
And then she immediately turns around and gets into politics, like...
A full decade later, yeah. Like...
Yeah, but, like, I think it would be cool to set up now, because it'd be like... It's just me. It's not, like,
well,
valid...
something I saw that was kind of interesting, where they were going, okay, she, like, just reads that dude for broke, and, like, rips him apart. And they're like, that's partially because she is like, she's really good at it because she's force sensitive. And she's just like really intuitive into people. And I was like, okay, that's kind of an interesting idea. Like, her like force sensitivity sort of like manifests itself in different ways.
I don't like that idea, but that's just me.
I mean, sure, whatever. Like, there are so many like little nuggets in this that I'm starting, like, I really like, and I like Ewan. I think the volume is really showing its like limitations. That goes back to like the action is terrible, but it's like you have a chase sequence where you're chasing Leia through a forest, and like they can't catch her even though they're moving like so incredibly slowly because
even
they
though
can't.
She's waddling like a freaking like 10-year-old.
Yeah,
she is.
And it's like you have to have an action sequence there. Like, of course you do, but like. You know, you're in a 50-foot room that has plasma TVs on either side of it, so you can't, like, sprint through that room. Like, that doesn't work. So you have to try and build action sequences in this room, and it just kind of sucks. Which, like, The Mandalorian got around this in the first season especially, but, like, they still didn't really understand the limitations of it, and they were still, like, pushing boundaries in that way. So they choreographed the action in a way that was, like, it was stationary shootouts, right? Or if there was, like, a chase, it was, like, an all-CGI, like, type deal. Like, you have IG-11 on a speeder bike, and he's a CGI character, so you can just put him on the bike and fly him through a virtual environment, and no one really cares. But, like... Yeah, like, the chase scenes suck, and, like, Obi-Wan is being chased through, like a... What the fuck is that? Like, the junkyard, or, like, the mining facility. And it's, like, he just, like, keeps ducking behind, like, containers, but, like...
Have you noticed?
Darth Vader's always, like, 30 feet away from him, that max.
Have you noticed that a lot of like low budget sci-fi shows just like, oh, we need to put our action somewhere, a quarry.
Well, it's because it looks like a western, and they're like that's another like limitation.
Are
of
cheap to rent, and they look kind of sci-fi.
Sure, yeah, that's another thing. Like Star Wars at this point is starting to really show it's like, okay, we've milked the western for as much as we can milk it. They really need to like dovetail into something else, right?
How about an actual sci-fi? Like,
I mean,
I'm just saying.
Sure. Oh my god. I really want to talk about the new episode, but like, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Leia, like, able to psychoanalyze her cousin. Also, Leia, make me float. Make me float.
Once again, she's 10. What do you want?
Consistency.
How is that inconsistent?
I don't know. Golly, where the frick is this guy? How? Cool. Have fun.
Alright, well, it's 15 dudes. We can probably handle it.
There's this one, like, dude in the main road. Freaking... What was I gonna say? I had a point about Obi-Wan. Golly. I don't know. I'm just like big not likey.
Yeah, I'm like I like parts of it, but I don't think it's really coming together for me. And like I've accepted once again, Star Wars has more bad content than it has good content at this point.
They're gonna make it where
so like whatever.
Somehow Reva has like Luke at her mercy, or Leia, or one of the two of them, and she's gonna have a last minute change of heart. So then Disney can be like, the entire OT happened because of her. Like, Vader's gonna kill her.
I think that's likely. Absolutely, like Vader's
I'm surprised
gonna kill her.
Vader didn't kill her, because it's like, I told you what failure would bring, but I'm gonna let you go. Like,
yeah.
If I was choking someone out and they said I put a tracker on their ship, and I was like, you should not have let them gotten away. You know. You shouldn't have let them get away to need a tracker. Like, No kidding, you should have put a track. We should put trackers on all the ships we capture.
Well, she sells it as there's a tracker on them, and I let it get away so that we could get the rest of them. And he's like, okay, that's clever. It's not just like I have a tracker, we can go get them. It's like, okay, we can get the rest of them. Which is like, that's still dumb. Like, he should still be like, okay, cool, you tracked them. We're gonna go kill them. I'm gonna break your neck, and somebody more competent will handle this next part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's absolutely fair. Oh, okay. So everyone I saw on Twitter, it was like, oh my god, she's gotta be one of the younglings. And I was like, wait, was that not implied? Like, there's no way, right?
Disney?
I was just...
Yeah, no. What is, like, you... When it comes to Disney, think of the worst thing they could do and the most obvious thing, and that's what they're gonna do.
Well,
they're gonna be like, "Are you so surprised it was her?" I'm like, "Not really." Like,
you showed like a child, and then you showed an adult, and I sort of put two and two together.
Yeah, you showed the one black woman in the galaxy, and
literally the one black Jedi.
The one black girl Jedi in the entire order, and then we have an adult, and I'm like,
okay, so how about this? Try this one on for size. So we can't that can't be the reveal because it's too obvious. So the reveal is that she was at the Jedi Temple because she was brought there by Mace Windu, who is secretly her father.
Fuck off.
Only black character in Star Wars, so...
No, that's the problem. That's what pissed me off when like people are like, Finn's related to Mace Windu. I'm like, why? You say just because they're both black they have to be related? Like...
Yeah, it's one of those for sure.
Oh
right.
my gosh.
It's time to rooftop, I think.
I am trapped on the ground. Give me a minute.
Alright, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything more to say other than like me making fun of things. But it's like, that's how I feel about it. Like, I want to like it. I thought the first two episodes were pretty good, but they were like slower, more like character-based ones. And like, episodes 3 and 4 are definitely more action, and the action sucks. So like, I don't know what to say, you know?
That's how all Disney Star Wars shows are at this point. But I still stand by my like literally it's been like leaked that the whole reason they rewrote Obi-Wan to get off world is because they're like, well, the Book of Boba's been all on Tatooine and we can't do another Book of Boba TV show. And I was like, yeah, but Boba for no reason at all spent his whole show on Tatooine.
Like there's actually stuff to be done.
And
like I get it.
It's like, why don't you like make a bounty hunter Boba Fett show? Oh wait, we can't do that because the Mandalorian's a thing. So TLDR, because the Mandalorian is a thing, Obi-Wan can no longer stay on Tatooine.
Well, it's also like TLDR, because the Mandalorian is really good, everything else has to suck, right?
Which some people are in. Oh, I do not. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. Not looking forward to the Ahsoka TV show.
Oh, please.
Ahsoka was one of those characters where the entire internet was like, yeah, she was annoying at first, but we've grown to like her. And I was kind of the opposite, where I liked her at first, and then the more she did stuff, the more I hated her.
Oh, really? Hot take.
Because it's like, oh, this is my OC Ahsoka. She has fought General Grievous, Ventress. She saved Anakin. And, like, she's
sure. It's definitely like
crap.
It's like self-insert, like fanfiction-y.
The longer she goes on, I'm like, holy crap, is there anything she's not done? Look, she saved Anakin from buzz droids, you know? Like Anakin did in episode 3 with Obi-Wan. Look, she said this is where the fun begins. Like Anakin said in episode 3, so technically, she said it first. Isn't that so cool? Anakin said something she said. And it keeps going on like that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And like the fact that her like character exists.
She fought Darth Maul and won. Freaking how?
Sure. Yeah. And like as independently good as that, like for the Clone Wars, I'm like, oh, that was pretty good. It does have like the clone brain chip thing, which I think is fucking awful. But like whatever. Like that's not like the character's fault that exists. So, like, that was kind of good, but there's also like I agree with you. The longer that she exists, the like less sense it makes. Like it's already kind of a stretch for me to believe that Anakin has this like really trusted individual in his life that he just doesn't mention in Episode 3, even though that character is still alive.
I think we had talked about it before the Clone Wars ended. I think I remember you and I just... Maybe I was talking about it with Gregor, because, like, before the Clone Wars ended, like, I was very much like, Ahsoka needs to die. And he wasn't. He was like, no, she needs to stay alive. And I was like, can you imagine, like, okay, Count Dooku kills Ahsoka. Now Anakin has more reason to chop his head off.
Oh, that's pretty good, honestly. Like, if I was gonna do it, it'd be that, yeah.
And also, he's like, I have lost, like, I nearly lost my mentor and best friend to this madman. And I lost my Padawan. And then even when he has dreams of Padme dying, he's like, I just lost my Padawan. I don't want to lose someone else.
Sure, yeah,
But
like, that all makes sense.
It fuels his whole character arc if she dies.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it's like, okay, let's just ignore that, like, she, like, survives Order 66. That's, like, fine, whatever. You like your OC, that's fine. I can't remember,
Order
it's been too long.
66 is triggered before the chip is ripped out of his head.
Oh, that's true, isn't it? Yeah, it's
Freaking
bad.
how?
Yeah, that's bad. That's pretty bad.
And I'm like, please tell me I'm not the only one noticing these things. Please.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, I'm sorry, to go back onto Ahsoka, rewind to season 1 of the Clone Wars, where she fights Grievous and survives. Cap. A 14-year-old girl versus a 4-armed lightsaber cyborg.
Well,
Cap.
here's the thing. Here's my, like, sort of headcanon about this. So my headcanon for General Grievous is that he's kind of a chump. And, like, he has, like, 4 lightsabers that he found, but every single Jedi's like, he kind of sucks. Like, our Padawans could take him. Like, I think that's kind of funny. I know that's not what it is, but, like, in my mind, if you go, okay, like, Padawans can take on Grievous, he's just a jock with 4 lightsabers who doesn't know how to use them. I think that's kind of funny.
I guess?
I'm getting at, like, Ahsoka needs to get killed by Darth Vader in Rebels, right? Like, that's, like, a capper to the story. Like, he's too far gone. Like, he'll kill even, like, the people that he cared about. Whatever. And then it makes it make way more sense that, like, if she's alive when Luke is running around doing shit and she's not helping him, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like...
This is my OC Ahsoka. She's gonna fight Darth Vader. But she can't survive that. I will literally break the laws of the Star Wars universe to save
I will
my
add
OC.
time travel to Star Wars.
I will add time travel to... Dude! Like...
I haven't even watched Rebels. I just read that on a wiki, and I was like, no, absolutely not.
Dead serious. Dead serious. That's what happens. Alright, I want your opinion on Vader in the 3rd episode where he just walks into the village and starts, like, not just the men, but the women and the children, too.
Oh, that was kind of cool.
Okay.
I didn't mind that.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's the men and the women and the children, too. Like, what do you want? Like, he's always been, like, this sort of, like, Jason Voorhees character, or he's just, like, this unstoppable machine. Like, whatever. Who cares?
I didn't really like it.
Oh, okay. Why is that? This is also, like, early Vader, relatively, right?
10
like,
years.
Sure, but, like, it's not 20 years. Like, 10 years Vader, if he's still kind of like an animal that just, like, murders everything he sees, like, that doesn't bother me. Like, he's learned restraint by the time he rolls into the next movies or whatever, but that's another decade. Like, sure. Now, if Disney had the stones, they would do a Darth Vader TV show where they show, like, his character development and all that, but we can't have bad guys be the main characters in our shows, so...
Yeah, no, he would have to be a good guy.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And end the show saving a village of people from the Hutts or something. So
I don't know, yeah.
Here's my problem with... See, like, I have the idea in my head, but I just don't. I'm struggling to put it into words, right?
Okay.
The Empire is supposed to represent, like, law and order in the galaxy. At least that's how Vader views it, because he's like, I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire. And by doing so, I will now randomly slaughter the civilians of my empire. Like, I get why he's doing it, because, like, as soon as he, like, started force choking that first person, Kristen was like, what is he doing? And I was like, he's trying to bait Obi-Wan out.
Yeah.
Because he's like, and it's like Vader's like, okay, Obi-Wan's gonna do that, and then Obi-Wan just acts like a coward, so even Vader's like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. It's like, what's happened? What's going on here?
even Vader seems to be like, wait, I thought, what?
I thought that would work.
And then, like, they meet in the quarry, and, like, it was comedic. Like, he rounds the corner, and Vader's standing right there, and then they just stare at each other, and then, like, a very wide shot, Obi-Wan runs off the side of the screen.
Yeah, that was, like, that entire sequence was bad. Like, it was just bad from start to finish.
You can tell, it was like Vader was like, oh, and, like, kind of, like, disappointed, like, oh.
Yeah.
You freaking, like, just walks off, and Vader's like, oh. Gosh, I lost my hat.
I hear what you're saying
sorry.
about, like, Vader and citizens. Vader definitely does blow up Alderaan. Like,
Tarkin did that.
okay, but Vader was standing there. Like,
Yeah, and he didn't pull the trigger.
oh my god, don't you dare, like, he didn't pull the trigger, me. Like,
Watch out, we got Teddy Browns on the roof.
like, if it bothers you, fine, but, like, let's not pretend that Vader has actually ever given a shit about actual law and order. Like,
Well, see, the thing is, and
he
this
stands there while his coworker blows up a planet. Like,
this goes back to, like, Vader's influence on, like, cinema villains, is because, like, before Vader, you never really had, like, the villain who kills their subordinates. And I'm gonna, this doesn't really relate to the episode, it was just something I've thought of.
uh-huh.
And then, like, people in the 80s, they saw Vader do that, and they're like, okay, so, like, cool villains kill their subordinates. I was like, well, no, they don't just kill them randomly. Like, if you watch Empire Strikes Back, it's always like, oh, you have failed me repeatedly, and
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's fair. He does, like,
So,
he, like,
which,
chokes out
again-
that one guy in episode 4 just to sort of, like, flex on him. Like, he doesn't actually kill him, right?
Well, yeah, no, exactly. And then, like, the freaking, people are defending this episode of Kenobi because it's like, oh, he always killed people randomly. It's like, well, no, he didn't. He always
Sure.
had a reason to do it.
Sure, but, like,
Like-
the reason being I'm a bait Obi-Wan out, like, that doesn't bother me. Because it's also, like, you can almost look at it like he starts choking the first person, Obi-Wan doesn't bite, and he's like, oh, okay, well, snap. Okay, let's try someone else. Like, he moves through, like, more vulnerable people, like, being, okay, this is the one that'll get him, and it just never gets him. So, like, I think he's surprised just as much as anything.
Which, like, again, the problem is I make these statements knowing full well that I'm also providing the arguments, like, against my own points, because it's like, yeah, he's trying to bait Obi-Wan out. But it's like, the friggin', he kills the guy, and then the child runs out, and he kills the child, and it's like, why didn't you just force grab them both up into the air and start breaking their bones one by one, having their horrific screams? Like,
yeah, I mean,
torment.
and the answer to that is because this is a Disney show. Like,
Yeah, because Disney, like,
exactly. Like, the logic of it doesn't, like, it's not infallible, but, like, the execution kind of sucks, right? And I'll 100% give you that kind of sucks.
which I will. Okay, I'm about to defend that scene. Right? Is like I saw people. Vader, it was like he had been on a 3-day bender or something.
It's like people don't understand what PTSD is, right?
Well, it's not just that, but like in the novelizations and in the EU, the dark side of the Force has like even in the Empire. I think in Empire Strikes Back, it's like the cave.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like does Luke? Because like I don't. All right, I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic here. Okay, so in the EU. Right.
Sure.
Just
yeah, I'm here.
I was getting ahead of myself. So in the EU and the novelizations, the dark side of the Force is described as having like a physical, like you feel cold, right?
Sure.
And I think even in Episode 5, Luke says like, "Is that cave has like a cold presence to it?" Maybe I'm imagining that. But the point is, like, I viewed Obi-Wan's reaction as like someone just dumped a bucket of Arctic water on his heart or something. Like,
Sure.
so that makes sense why he was like, grasping the wall. So because it's like Vader has such a dark side presence. It's like the freaking Arctic Ocean of cold.
Sure.
And I liked that.
And
the PTSD on top of it, yeah.
Well, I just sort of read it as he feels Anakin's presence. Like, it's like other people feel Darth Vader's presence, but he feels Anakin because he knows Anakin, right? Yeah. And it's just like, oh shit.
Wait, like, even in Star Wars Rebels, like Vader's first scene is like the two main characters like stop and they're like, "Do you feel that?" And the other one says like, "I feel cold." And then you hear like these creepy like horror movie like strings like. And they turn around and Vader's silhouette's in a doorway, and you're like, I'm about to crap my pants.
Yeah.
But like that's what I took that as, because like, I thought that was really cool because it's like, yeah, because the dark side of the Force is like the cold death of space. But okay, I'm sorry. Another problem with the show is like, oh, Leia's like, describe what the Force is like. It's like turning on a light and not being scared anymore. So I'm going to willingly turn off the light for the next 9 to 10 years.
Oh, no, come on. That's good. That's a good line. I'll fight you on that.
Why did he cut himself off from the Force?
So that he wouldn't be discovered, man. Like the same reason that Cal Kestis did. Oh, come on. No, it's not.
Cal Kestis didn't cut himself off from the Force. He was just very bad at it.
No, I don't.
I'll
give you a lot of it. I won't give you that. Like
the whole concept of
no.
The whole concept of cutting yourself off from the Force is on the entire knowledge of the Jedi to him. But I myself will not practice anything and become rusty and sad.
All right, agree to disagree. Then that makes complete sense.
I'm just saying.
So it's like. No, I don't give it to you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about some things because you've already watched the Jeremy Johns video. So do you care if I like rag on a couple things?
Yeah, no, dude, I don't care. I will watch episode 4, but I don't care if you spoil it before I watch it.
Okay, so like once again, all the problems of the volume. It's like all of these like action sequences are in like these 30-foot long corridors, so that you can have an exactly like 30-foot long room. Okay, so they put like Obi-Wan into a Bacta tank, right? And they're like, "Oh, you need to heal with Bacta," and he's like, "Oh man," and like there's not any like real character stuff that happens because it's a 30-minute long episode. It is 30 minutes, 30.
Jeez.
Like it says 35 when you open it, but there's 2 minutes of intro and then 5 minutes of credits. So
what?
Because they have to show every language that it's been translated into, right? So like in reality, it's like a 28-minute runtime. So and since you have to put in all of this like really good action, quote. So you don't have time for any real character development. So Obi-Wan doesn't like confront like, oh, I just saw my apprentice. I just like fought Vader and lost. No, none of that. He gets out of the Bacta tank and he's like, we got to go save Leia, and he goes and saves Leia. Sure, fine, whatever. So that's bad. He gets out of the Bacta tank and they give him, and I swear, like I am swearing to you right now, they give him new clothes. It is literally Jedi robes that have been dyed gray. Like, it is the tunic, it is the belt, it is the shoes.
Freaking, what is with Disney's obsession in putting their main characters in gray robes after the, like...
And it's not even like the color that bothers me. Like, I don't care. It's like oh my god, I just used explosive rounds on that guy. That was not good.
So in the EU, Jedi robes are actually what like a homeless person would wear in the galaxy?
Okay, that doesn't make sense. He's got some pretty big Louis Vuitton boots for a homeless man. But like, sure. Whatever. Breathers on, and like he like cuts his way into the base and he's doing Jedi shit in his Jedi robes. And then they go, "Oh, here, take this guard uniform as a disguise." And it's like, you probably should have been wearing that from the get-go. Like,
From day one, my guy.
but yeah, you needed to wear the Jedi robes, or else we wouldn't be able to tell that you're a Jedi. I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Also, my name is Inquisitor number 4. My first kill was a youngling at 9 years old. I'm gonna put him in a pickle jar. You know, remember the Mask of Zorro movie where Captain Love just pickles the head of men he killed?
Yeah, I love that movie. That movie's so good.
Freaking the makers of this show watch that and they're like, that's a good idea. Because, like...
Oh, that's true. And that doesn't go anywhere. Like, I thought the reveal was gonna be they were gonna have, like somebody that Obi-Wan knew in the tanks, and that would freak him out. But it was just, like, it was anybody.
Oh, look,
like,
a youngling in a tank!
It's like, yeah, there's a youngling in the tank, there's a guy that I don't recognize. I thought Mace Windu was gonna be in a tank. And they were just gonna be like, oh, fuck, it's Mace Windu. Mace Windu's dead. But, like, no, of course not. Like...
But we might need Mace Windu alive for a TV show.
Yeah, we might do a TV show with Samuel L. Jackson, who is in his 70s. Like, sure, why not?
Samuel L. Jackson, I hate the fact that he did this because like the Star Wars fandom like took it seriously. Where it's like, do you think Mace Windu survived? And he was like, yes. And I was like, freaking how? And yet, like, huge portions of the Star Wars fandom are like, Mace Windu is alive. Mace Windu is like just blindly parodying it, and I'm like, sure, he fell down like a mile after being electrocuted and his hand chopped off.
Yeah, like
golly,
the entirety of Coruscant's deal is like, if you fall out of this building, you will die.
You will die because it's like a 2-mile drop through traffic.
I picked up a bow, by the way.
I noticed. Oh geez, you need help up there.
Oh, I'm about to. I didn't even notice. You're right.
You're welcome. I'm coming.
Well, they're all over on this side of the roof. Like, they're not even close to me.
I know. I'm still coming though.
You just want the kills.
Down with the victim. Wearing a shirt.
Oh my god. Just die. What else we got? Oh, there's this bit that, like, it didn't really bother me, but I thought it was kind of funny. He, like, puts on, like, an Imperial officer's, like, headgear. Mm-hmm. But then, like, they find, like, a water trench coat on this, like, dude. So he puts on the trench coat, and it's literally cut like a German officer's, like, trench coat. Like,
wow!
Well, it's like they didn't even bother like making it look spacey. It looked like they could have come off of like an Indiana Jones set.
Oh, that's cringe. Cringe.
Well, it's like, and the Empire's always been German officers and yada yada
yeah,
yada.
Yeah, but like, it wasn't like that obvious.
No, I mean it was like
it was kind of obvious, but not like, look, we're walking around in the leather trench coats and being like, we'll have a Jewish family under your
No, it's not leather. It's made out of like those like raincoat like materials.
Okay, never mind.
But it's like it's the cut of it, right? It's like literally the same. Oh, did you just nail that guy? Oh, because you can push them over. That's right. Okay. And he puts on the trench coat, and then Leia is underneath it, so he's walking, and she's walking with him. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then you see that he has 4 feet now. It's like, okay, well, that's not as funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, so they're about to get killed, right? Like they've been. Oh shit. No. Oh no. I'm up here.
Shoot. How much time you got?
Enough, but you gotta hurry.
Alright, I'm coming.
There's a guy up here with a shotgun. Okay, so, like, they're gonna get killed, they're cornered, and then, like, Deus Ex Machina, 2 snow speeders arrive, and, like, shoot at the bad guys. And it's like, okay, you use snow speeders because you had the model and you wanted it to be something cool and recognizable, but it being a snow speeder doesn't make any sense. And then the other part of it is the snowspeeder like canopy pops open, and the guy goes, "Get in," and all three of them pile into the back seat, which is like, I've seen Empire Strikes Back.
It has been established that snow speeders can only reach a certain altitude.
Oh, it was low. Like, it was definitely low.
Oh, okay, cool.
But one of them starts shooting at the Inquisitor, and it parks midair to do so. Like, it's just sitting still midair, shooting at her. So that kind of sucks. I was
Wait,
like,
don't tell me she was blocking it.
oh, like, she was definitely reflecting it back, man. Like, she was trying.
Yeah, but it's not like they're heavy cannons. The bolts are massive.
Yeah, they're bigger than her lightsaber, and she's parrying them. It's pretty funny.
It hurts to wake up in the morning.
I'm telling you, like, it's all the action. The action just blows. Like, it's not good. It hasn't been thought out. Like, I don't understand. This is what they need to do. They need to like bring in like an actual like action movie director, and like get him to do stuff.
Yeah, but diversity. Like,
well, like, I have no problem. I don't know what Deborah Chow has done before this. And also, to be completely fair, I don't think that any of the directors in these do the action sequences. Like, all of the Marvel films are prevised to their entirety before the actors are even cast at this point. Like, the directors aren't choreographing the action.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Bad movie, like.
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Okay, are we done with Obi-Wan? Because I would gladly talk about Doctor Strange.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're calling Obi-Wan done. I'm gonna clip it. We'll do another episode when the last episode comes out. So see you guys then.